Hello, everybody. So, this is the Southern Hellenist, and I'm back with another video. So, this is another live stream video that I'm doing. So, I hope that this is going to be beneficial and helpful to someone who is trying to get a good handle or understanding of different things. So, the title of the video is Medusa. And the reason I'm doing a video about Medusa is because there's a piece of artwork or sculpture that's currently, I think, in Manhattan entitled, I don't know what the title of it is, but it's a statue of Medusa holding the severed head of Perseus. So instead of turning him into stone, she actually is able to get his sword and cut his head off. I don't know the purpose of it, but it's art, and we don't understand art. I guess only people who understand art are those stuffy art people. So I got some time before I have to leave to go to work. So I decided to tackle this because everybody on Facebook is talking about the sculpture to the point where one group actually decided that comments about the statue was not allowed because it has been so thoroughly discussed and talked about online that So you have people, you have two different parties that talk about this statue. One, you have people that, well, take it back three. People that don't understand the concept of art. Don't understand why do we have these museums and these art galleries? Art is stupid. Then you have the people like the Hellenics. No matter if no matter if you're practicing Hellenistic Wicca or Hellenismos, their opinion is that they're taking the myths too literal. That's what I'm in the Hellenistic Wicca / Hellenismos group, where I firmly believe that they're just taking the myth too literal, and that is not how the ancient Greeks did it. They did not view that this as literal. It's not the Bible. I mean, seriously, people. So also there's another group of people that are saying that basically that this is crafted by a white man. I don't know why they bring race into it. Just please, just say it's sculpted by a man and leave it at that. Why do you have to bring his dang freaking race into it? Oh, it's created by a white man, so we shouldn't use tires. Yeah. All right. So yeah. So it's kind of like it's kind of just bizarre. So I'm going. So this one site said that I can use information as long as I cite the page. So I'm going to cite the page. This is from Greek mythology.com. It's a and the page goes into great detail about Medusa's origins, who her sisters were, who her family was, and all this stuff. And it clearly states that Medusa was originally this very ravishing, beautiful mortal. So she was the only one. So she was born of immortal parents, but she was mortal. At least that is one version of it. The other version was that she was born that way. So I'm going to read from the page, and then I'm going to read from two articles. It's for the statue and against the statue, and probably one of them will be from people that just don't understand art. All right. So, all right. All right. So this is from GreekMythology.com under Myths, Creatures. Medusa was one of the three Gorgons, daughter of Polycrus and Keto, sisters of the Grani, Echidna, and Ladon. All dreadful and fearsome beasts. As a beautiful mortal, Medusa was the exception in the family until she incurred the wrath of Athena, either due to her boastfulness or because of an ill-fated love affair with Poseidon. Now let's stop right there. Right there. Okay. There are three versions of the myth of Medusa. And this is the problem. This is one of the huge problems I have with the statue. It relies only on one version of the myth, the one that Ovid, the Roman poet, made very famous, because he was Ovid, he was a Roman poet. So in the book Percy Jackson Greek Myths, Rick Riordan goes to the second myth, which was that Medusa willingly had relations with Poseidon, but chose the wrong place. And this all goes back to Poseidon's, I would say, hatred for Athena or dislike for Athena. So, if we go back a little back further before Poseidon caused this poor girl or willing girl to be cursed by Athena, so you can have a good idea that this event happened after Athena became the patron deity of Athens. So Athena and Poseidon were having a contest to decide who would be the patron deity of Athens. Poseidon struck his trident, and a spring of salt water came out, and Athena struck the ground, and an olive tree came out. And because Athena's gift was more useful and had more than one use, Athena won the contest, and she became the patron goddess of Athens. So what ends up happening in the myth is Poseidon actually takes Medusa to Athena's temple, and they engage in sexual intercourse. And Athena gets furious, not at Poseidon, because of the role that he has as being like this male fertile god, but for Medusa. Now, the third one is the boastfulness, where Medusa basically angered Athena, and with her apparently her pride. But the two stories are the main ones, which is either she was willingly had sexual intercourse with Poseidon in Athena's temple, or she was raped by Poseidon in Athena's temple. Either way, she ends up as a Gorgon. All right, I hate soda sometimes. I really do. Why do I have to burp? All right. So, transformed into a vicious monster with snakes for hair, she was killed by Perseus, who afterwards used her still potent head as a weapon before gifting it to Athena. In the show Clash of the Gods, we get the story of the rape of Medusa. Remember, Rick Riordan went with the willingly had sexual intercourse in in Athena's temple, and Clash of the Gods went with the version of the myth where she is raped by Poseidon. So Perseus goes. Now, this is the thing about it. This is the thing about Medusa. When we go with the part where she is raped by Poseidon, her head becomes the ultimate weapon that men want to control, because apparently women are too fragile to actually go and try to cut her head off. Or obviously because of their height difference. I don't know. So Perseus goes out there to get the head of Medusa because he has plans for that head. And the reasons are not like the others. He's not into having a weapon where he can use it to like destroy empires. he is he wants to give it to his mother's soon-to-be husband, and he knows exactly what the head will do to him. That's why he wants it. So it's not for, oh, I'm going to use it to take down an empire. I'm using it to save my mother. So his intentions are actually good. They are what I would call pure, because it's out of love and not out of the desire for conquest. What he doesn't realize at the time is Medusa is pregnant with Poseidon's kids. Remember, he is a god of virility, just like Zeus is a god of virility, and I'm pretty sure Hades is also a god of virility. Though I don't know if there's any myths about Hades having children. I know Rick Riordan has it where all like the six psychos and all those types of people are descendants of either Hades or Pluto, with the exception of three. But in the actual myths, I don't really know if Hades even had children with Persephone. Though Persephone does become a little bit like Hera, where she's like extremely jealous. But that was one about a nymph, which was interesting. So back to Poseidon. So he has this male virility, and basically, no sooner does he rape her, but he instantly makes her pregnant. So she's carrying these offspring in her womb for God knows how long. I think that she might have been made immortal because she can't be like an old withering hag and with snakes for hair. She has to stay the same age. So I do think that there was an essence of immortality. So I don't know how long the Medusa was on this island with her sisters. Now, some people think that Medusa was alone, but actually in the original myths, she was actually sent back to her sisters so that she would actually not be alone. So, which goes along with what happened after Perseus actually killed her. Her sisters actually woke up to a sound, and they went to try to get Perseus, but Perseus had already gone. All right. Okay, so so Medusa, whose name probably comes from the ancient word for guardian, was one of three Gorgons, daughters of the sea gods. I mentioned their names, and sisters. Okay, so from then on, similar to her sisters, Medusa was depicted with bronze hands and wings of gold. Poets claim she had a great boar-like tusk and tongue long between her fanged teeth. Withering snakes were entwined her head in place of hair. Her face was so hideous and her gaze so piercing that the mere sight of her was sufficient to turn a man to stone. I don't know a woman. It wasn't always like that. Medusa, the only mortal among the Gorgon sisters, was also distinguished from them by the fact that she alone was born with a beautiful face. Ovid especially praises the glory of her hair, most wondrous of all her charms. The great sea god Poseidon seems to have shared this admiration, for once he couldn't resist the temptation, impregnated Medusa in the temple of Athena. Enraged, the virgin goddess transformed Medusa, enchanted hair, into a coil of serpents, turning the youngest Gorgon into the monster we described above. Soon after this, trying to get rid of Perseus, the king of Serapos sent the great hero on a quest which he believed must be his final one. Fetch me the head of Medusa, commanded the king. With the help of Athena and Hermes, and after compelling the Grey Sisters for Medusa's whereabouts, Perseus finally reached the fabled land of the Gorgons, located either in the far west, beyond the outer ocean, or in the midst of it, on the rocky island of Sarpedon. Medusa was asleep, and Perseus, using the reflection of Athena's bronze shield as a guide, managed to cut her head off with his sickle. Strangely enough, Medusa's story doesn't end with her death. In fact, one can argue that the most particular fragment of her biology are all posthumous. So she gives birth to, so out of her severed head, which is a bizarre way to actually give birth, because you're not around to see it, out of her head is her two children, Pegasus and Chrysador. So they basically sprung from her neck, and their births were very noisy. So it wasn't, oh, hi, hello. So it wasn't her screams that woke up her sisters. It was the birth of her children that woke up her sisters. And so they had a funny feeling that something freaky had happened, and they tried to go after Perseus. But as I said before, he was gone. So I'm doing all this to put this statue in context, and why this statue is not something that the ancient Greeks would have approved of or recognized, because it takes the rape of Medusa literally, which is not something the Greeks even believed in. They never took their myths literally. So it says here, okay, so they went back to their secluded abode to mourn Medusa. Pindar, a great ancient Greek poet, says that upon hearing their gloomy lament, Athena was so touched that she modeled after it the mournful music of the double pipe. And the double pipe, if you look, okay, so the double pipe. If you look at any type of ancient Greek art, and you see a guy with the double pipe, that is, and the sound, apparently that is the wail of the Gorgons. Though I think somebody made a 3D recreation of that pipe. I don't know. Now that Perseus had Medusa's head in his bag, he went back to the island. However, while flying over Libya, drops of Medusa's blood fell to the ground and instantly turned into snakes. It is because of that, to this day, Libya abounds with serpents. When Perseus arrived in Serapos, he used Medusa's head to turn the king and the vicious inlanders into stones. The island was well known for its numerous rocks. After this, Perseus gave Medusa's head to his benefactor Athena as a votive gift. The goddess set it on Zeus's aegis, which she also carried as the Gorgion. I can't pronounce it. She also collected some of the remaining blood and gave most of it to Asclepius, who used the blood from Medusa's left side to take people's lives and the blood from her right side to raise people from the dead. The rest of Medusa's blood, a vial containing 2 drops, Athena gave to her adopted son. I cannot pronounce it. Euripides says that one of the drops is a cure, on the other one a deadly poison. As always, the protector of heroes, Athena put aside in the bronze jar a lock of Medusa's hair for Heracles, who subsequently gave it to, I cannot pronounce the name, it's spelled Cepheus, daughter Steropoi, to use it as protect her hometown Tiga. Supposedly, even though it didn't have the power of Medusa's gaze, the lock could still cast terror. And an enemy unfortunate enough to even accidentally behold it. Um, so it's all right. So you can sources. You can read a prose summary of Perseus' quest for Medusa's head in Apollodorus's library. Um, for the poetic account, see the ending of the fourth book of Ovid's Metamorphoses. Naturally, Medusa's genealogy is described in full in Hesiod's Theogony. All right. Okay. All right, now I have three. Apparently, the topic of Medusa is pretty interesting. So that was from that website. So as I said, uh, either her boastfulness caused her to get turned into a Gorgon, either her willingly to have sexual intercourse with Poseidon led to her to become a Gorgon, or her rape caused her to become a Gorgon. So this is now I love art. I really do. I don't actually take this statue as badly as others have, but I do kind of want to use that statue as a focal point of the discussion of literalists, people that literally get angry about a myth that definitely did not cause this kind of reaction when it was probably first told. So Medusa is essentially a guardian. So Gorgon, as I said, Gorgon means guardian. So Medusa was actually a really popular guardian. You see her head put her face put on the on stoves to to keep children from touching because the knob was hot. So children saw it and was like, okay, I shouldn't touch that or I'm going to get burned. So it was used as to protect children from getting burned. Parents, of course, used Medusa as a way of getting their kids to behave. That was in Clash of the Gods, which was real interesting. And the show is actually, there's people that are historians and people that are experts in Greek mythology and Greek religion and all the type of stuff who are on this show. So it's a really good, a really good show. The only thing I do have a problem with is the one for Zeus and the one for Hades towards the end of it, because Hades is depicted as basically as like the devil or like the false prophet, and Zeus is kind of like they gloss over. The fact is that the Greeks did not willingly give up their worship of Zeus. It was actually forced upon them by the church. So yeah, the Minotaur was good. Medusa was good. Thor was good because they actually decide to tell you that the Norse were actually told by the church you can't sacrifice animals to the gods anymore, and they were not happy about it. And they actually, by the time you get to Hercules, not Hercules, but Thor, they actually say that it was imposed upon them. Oh my God, why? The show has, oh yes, it does have historians. It does. But it was the narrator that I had a problem with, not the historians. Not the historians. It was the narrator I had a problem with. That narrator can go somewhere personally. So in 2008, hold on a second. Let me look up. Let me look this up here. 2018, not 2008. Sorry about that. 2018. This gentleman, I cannot pronounce his name. I think it's like an Italian artist. He decided to, because he would go to the museum. Remember, he's French. They go to museums. And he saw the statue of Perseus holding up the head of the Gorgon Medusa. And I really want to buy that statue because it'll just piss people off. And basically, it was the statue of Perseus holding up the Gorgon's head of Medusa that inspired him to basically do a reversal role where Medusa is actually the one that is holding the severed head. The problem I have with the statue is she's nude. Okay, so you have a girl, a girl who is either punished for her boastfulness, punished for willingly having relations with the sea god, or raped by the sea god, and you have her nude. Put some fucking clothes on her. I know I'm probably going to get, this is probably going to get struck, but put some clothes on her. Stop turning her into an object of lust. So she's nude, and she's holding, it's like this, like her, so it's like this, she's holding it like, I think like this, and then on this hand is the sword, though it might be the other way around because, you know. So it's installed in, it's a temporary statue, so it's installed across the street from the courthouse that Harvey Weinstein got convicted of his bout of stupidity and being nasty. Wait, is she holding her own head? No, she's holding Perseus' head. I think that's unfair that they made her naked. Someone told me that in myth it was for her protection. I'm going to actually probably say you're probably right about that. I don't have access to the books you probably do. Most of the stuff I get off the internet. If you can tell me the name of it, I definitely will get it because I want to read that. But Athena is, the whole thing with what she did. It doesn't take away from the fact is that I absolutely adore and respect the goddess Athena. And if you look in ancient Egypt, as well as ancient Greece, you could not go into the temple unless you were purified. So the fact that sexual intercourse, which is considered pollution to the ancient Greeks, was done inside of a structure that's supposed to be continuously pure was what angered Athena. All right, so I'm going to read from someone who doesn't like art or doesn't see the point of it. All right. Okay, so let's see here. See if I can find it. Okay, so artnet.com is stating that nude public statue of Medusa as a feminist. Okay, first of all, what? Okay, I'm just going to use that title to say this words. What the fuck? Medusa was not a fucking feminist, okay? She was not a feminist. She was a Gorgon who got the wrong end of the stick, depending on what mythology you're going with. This is a problem I have with people taking these mythologies as fucking literal. First of all, depending on what version you're going with, you can either see her as a victim of Poseidon or a willing participant in the act of intercourse. But of course, because we're only going to stick with one source, yeah. So it is stupid beyond imagine. So I'm going to read this stupid article. Yeah, but she is gorgeous. I really do. But she's fucking nude. I can't stand that. Medusa, the terrifying monster of ancient Greek myth, stands triumphant in New York City today, holding aloft the head of her slayer, Perseus. in a new 7-foot-tall bronze statue outside of the New York County Criminal Court in Lower Manhattan. But the work, which is on view outside the courtroom where Harvey Weinstein was tried and sentenced to 23 years in prison for rape and sexual assault, has critics who take issue with a male artist criticizing sexual violence against women, according to Hyperallergic. The piece Medusa with the head of Perseus is the work of Luciano Garbati, who was inspired by Medusa's tragic story as it was told by the Roman poet Ovid in the Metamorphoses. The god Poseidon raped Medusa, who was then victim blamed and punished by Athena, who cursed Medusa by turning her into a deadly monster with serpents for hair. The hero Perseus later defeated Medusa by beheading her. Garbati wanted to humanize the woman behind the myth and to question her identity as a monster. He based his sculpture, originally created in 2008, on the Italian Renaissance masterpiece. It was actually sculpted in 1545 to 1554. So apparently it took 10 years for this guy to do this. I don't know why it takes 10 years for someone to sculpt something. Okay, so it was an idea that resonated when he posted a Renson version of the artwork on Instagram. With the Me Too movement in full swing, fall reports of sexual abuse by Weinstein. Garbati's Medusa was adopted by some as a feminist symbol of equality and justice. Something in the sculpture has been captivating women's attention, which means that I have been able to capture it in some aspect of feminine pathos. But some have taken offense at the statue's lack of public hair. What the... Oh. Oh, it says here, I don't understand how people in their right mind can take the myths literally. This is why I did the video. This is why I'm doing this video, because they literally take it literally. The Romans never took their myths literally. I think the Egyptians did, but the Greeks and the Romans never did. It wasn't a Bible. It wasn't a Bible. It wasn't. It's like, okay, okay. All right. It was pubic hair. Pubic hair. All right. It says here, okay, so, all right, formerly in a sculpture, the pubic hair can easily become either an unwanted distraction or artificial ornament, he said. Garbati's Medusa previously made her New York debut in December 2018. Is it 2008 or 2018? In the MWTH project, a group showed exploring revisionist versions of classical historical narrative organized by photographer Beck Anderson in response to the Medusa statue. The show has since evolved into an artist-led project. A new version of the sculpture cast in bronze by Vanessa Solomon of Carbon Script Studios in Red Hook and Lauren Braun's Foundry. If people don't know what a foundry is, please look it up. In Philadelphia, has been created for the latest presentation, staged in Collection Park Pond by the New York Park Department's Art in the Parks program, which actually is a very good program. It is very good. It says here, it took me 3 months to make something the size of my palm for art class. It turned out ugly. I'm sorry, Apollo, I tried. At least you tried. There's people that actually just like give up. They just absolutely give up on doing anything. But at least you tried. And I'm going to give you an A for effort. So reading it, you see the word revisionist. revisionist. Okay? Revisionist. What's the problem with revisionist history? Problem with revisionist myths is its wording. Revisionist. Okay. I am not the kind of person who gets mad at art. Art is art. Art is designed to help you think. You have to think. Because if you don't think, you're kind of bound to what other people view things. So when we talk about this statue, I don't get why they did the statue. Of course, I don't understand why people get freaking upset because a man did it, which is my other complaint is, hey, look, I understand that you're mad that a man did this statue. Well, to that, I don't understand why you're mad that a man did the statue. But it is stupid to get mad that a man did the statue. It's also something that we really need to understand about revisualism statues. So for it to be how am I going to say this? Okay. For it to be a revisionist statue, you have to take the myths literally. And this is a byproduct of the Christianization of Europe. Okay, so this is no offense to Christians or the religion of Christianity. No offense. But it laid the foundation for things to be taken literally. We have literalist judges. We have a literalist Supreme Court justice. I don't know which one is. I don't know if it's Kavanaugh or the other guy, but one of them is basically a literalist. Basically, they read the law and they literally take it word for word. If it doesn't fall within the wording, it's not something they accept. Or he accepts. So people get mad at lack of pubic hair, doesn't understand Greek statuary. If you look at any statues of like Aphrodite, or especially Aphrodite is generally depicted as being nude. She actually has no pubic hair. I'm sorry, this might be off topic, but what is a revivalist in Hellenic? Oh, okay. All right. So I do have experience with the word revivalist because I'm actually friends with a Kemetic revivalist. Or to that, I actually am part of a group called Roman. Actually, revivalist is also another name for reformism. Like there's Kemetic reform, and then there's like Roman reformism. Basically it's like in between. Hold on, let me look that up. I'm just going to type in your word. All right, I'll give you. Okay, so it is a. Hold on. Okay. Apparently, Agus actually answers this question. Okay, so says here. Okay, so the Coffin Club says that revival and reformist are basically the same thing. So Hellenism, otherwise known as Greek It's a traditional polytheistic religion of ancient Hellenes. Um, so it says here. So it says here. In general, I consider revival and reformed the same thing. Others probably don't, but I'll explain the difference between recon. Okay, so and reformed Hellenism. So start there is no hard line, not in as far as can be defined beforehand. The distinction between traditional and reformed is a matter of intent. So, for instance, a Hellenic reformist is so they'll have the books and they'll read them and they will tell you, okay, here's the sources, but they'll do things like modern day offerings, or like for example is prime example of it is I have had to do a little bit of reformism when I didn't have the right kind of incense for a particular deity. Like I didn't have benzoin incense, so I gave dragon's blood incense. That's not historically an accurate type of incense, but that's all I had. Um, let me see here. Let's see here. Um, Yeah, that's as far as I know. But like I said, I'm friends with a Kemetic reformist, and basically they kind of adapt the rituals a little bit, especially if they can't find sources or something. I know that I posted a picture of an altar that had like the like Isis and Bastet and a couple other deities that the Romans actually had encounters with, like the Norse and all that type of stuff. And I actually got attacked for my altar, and the monitor actually got on there and basically kicked the guy off. So so reformism and revivalism are literally the same thing. All right. So back to so I hope that answers your question. Um, oh, okay. I lost my thing. All right. Okay. So yeah. So anyways, yeah. So it was installed, and I had never even heard of the statue until it popped up in my feed on Facebook, and it was actually let's see, I'm gonna go on here. Oh, I don't have to log back in. Okay, good. Um, see here. I'm just gonna try to find it. Um, okay. So let me just see here. I'm just gonna see if I can find it. Uh, okay, so apparently, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. Okay, so apparently nobody put it up here. Okay. Oh, there it is, damn freaking thing. All right. No, I don't want to see that. Trying to find, trying to find the. Uh, so I can find it. Okay. All right. Okay. So several people talk about this. So I'm going to read what this is. Ancient Legacy Keepers. I've taken all the hats. That's funny as heck. I've taken all the hats. Let me see if I can find it. So I can find it. Thankfully, she keeps her freaking page up, public. Let's see here. Doo-doo-doo. All cute. So she posted this on October the 11th. She posted a lot of stuff. All right, while I'm looking for it, so when it was installed, it really caused a lot of um, a lot of problems. Never mind. I'm not even going to try to find it because obviously I can't find it. All right. So this one is why a new statue of Medusa is so controversial. This is from the Smithsonian Magazine. All right, so I'm going to read this. A statue that inverts the Greek myth of Medusa's beheading now stands across the street from the Manhattan court where disgraced film executive Harvey Weinstein stood trial. Entitled Medusa with the Head of Perseus, the 7-foot bronze sculpture depicts the snake-haired Gorgon naked, wielding a sword in one hand and holding Perseus' head in the other. Per a statement, the work created by artist Luciano Garvati in 2008 recreates the Renaissance sculpture's statue of Perseus with the head of Medusa, 1545 to 1554. Both, in turn, are based on a version of Greek myth related in Olymp's Metamorphosis. According to legend, Poseidon, the sea, god of the sea, raped a maiden named Medusa in the temple of Athena. Blaming Medusa for the temple's defilement, Athena turned her into a monstrous gorgon capable of transforming those who looked at her to stone. Later, the demigod Perseus beheaded Medusa as part of a heroic quest. While predating modernity by thousands of years, the story of a woman who was blamed, chastised, and shamed for her assault is unfortunately timeless. Now, at the time that the myth was actually done, Greek society was starting to come to terms, which was, of course, uh, erased, that a man raping a woman was harmful to the victim. Um, but what ended up happening was, and I am going to find that particular myth. What ended up happening was what Athena actually did to this girl, either willingly or unwillingly, was turn her into a weapon. And I mentioned this before, that men would seek out her head so that they could have the kind of power that the head represented. It says here in his sculpture, Perseus stands naked atop of Medusa's corpse, holding her head aloft in victory. As Garibaldi told Quartz in 2018, seeing the work as a child led him to imagine a reversal of its dynamic. There's a lot of depictions of Medusa, and there's always describing the myth at its worst. The artist said, "What would it look like? What would it look like? Her victory, not his. How should the sculpture look?" Garibaldi's statue won fame online following the exposure of Weinstein's sexual crimes. Sexual crimes and the emergence of the Me Too movement. In 2018, an image of the statue circulated on online media alongside the caption, "Be grateful, we only want equality and not payback." New York-based photographer Beck Anderson spearheaded efforts to install the statue in Manhattan, worked with Garibaldi to outline a proposal for the city's Art in the Park program, reports Hyperallergenic. Anderson also founded Medusa with the Head, an art collection that strives to reframe classical narratives. How can a triumph be possible if you're a defeat and a victim? Some are skeptical of the statue's status as a feminist art. On social media, notes Tessa Solomon of Art News, a number of critics argued the statue would make more sense as a Me Too statement if Medusa was decapitating her rapist Poseidon. Others question the feminist value of placing a male's artist likeness of a naked, conventionally beautiful woman in such a predominant location. Me Too was started by a black woman with a sculpture of a European character by a dude is the commentary that gets centered, Sigh, wrote activists. Curb art critic Jerry Schultz, meanwhile, deemed the statue Conceptual Art 101 as most obvious and simplistic. Anyone who sees the statue, reads the title, and is reminded of the original myth will instantly get it. That's all there is after that. Other than that, the Playboy magazine liked nude realism. He added, "She still is the total object of male gaze here, not of thought, fear, admiration, pathos, power, agency, or any other than male idiocy." Responded to the criticism, Anderson tells Adweek David Griner that she doesn't think any reaction could be considered wrong. The photographer explains it is emotionally charged sculpture and it's understandable that viewers will have strong reaction to the work. The reality is that mythology and history are both told from the perspective of the narrator with implicit bias, but the inversion of the myth destabilizes what many consider to be fixed history, and that can be an uncomfortable idea. Okay, so first of all, this is not history. This is not fixed history. This is a myth. This is a story about a girl, either willingly or unwillingly, going and being cursed into this creature and joining her sisters who are of the same type of group. I think it would have enraged Hellenics a whole lot more if they had done a statue of Medusa with Poseidon's beheaded head. I think that Hellenists would have been a lot more outraged and a lot more ready to basically take out the pitchforks and the torches and go after this guy who did this statue. I think that, you know, Hellenists on Facebook, they're like, they're like, this is not literal. You know, they're turning this myth into a literal nightmare. And I'm going to agree with a lot of people that get on and say, why is this statue even up? What statement is being made except that you are insulting our gods. You're insulting Athena. My own words is that this is here, let me rephrase that. This statue does nothing. It does nothing. First of all, put some clothes on her. Okay? And even in Clash of the Gods, Medusa is depicted with clothes on. She didn't shed her desire to wear clothes because she was turned into a Gorgon. So it's one of those things that you really kind of wonder what point is being made. None. Do we have the right to be mad because people are taking these myths literally and and basically depicting Perseus as this bad guy, which he wasn't? Insulting Athena, insulting Poseidon. That is the emotions I get when I see the statue. First of all, as I said, you're taking this literally. Second of all, you are, in my own personal opinion, committing hubris because you are, how should you say it? I can't even say it. The statue is going to be up until March of next year. But you know, it was interesting. Speaking of projects, there was one that was a lot more positive than the Medusa statue, and this was a couple years back. This is before COVID, and there is a park called Getty Park. It's actually owned by, I think, either one of the descendants of Rockefeller or something like that. And they installed a statue of the goddess Venus, or Aphrodite. And they had a stack of like these little postcard things. And they basically said, you know, write your, you know, if you want to give your name, give your age, and send a prayer to Aphrodite or to Venus. And people littered the back of this portico with these cards. And it's interesting was that it was a form of devotional work. You know, some people asked for love. Some people asked Venus to help them with their business. Some thought it was a joke. Some said this is a demon. It was interesting because this is art done correctly, where you have a statue and you have a stack of cards and say, hey, put your wishes, or if Venus has done something for you or helped you out in some kind of venture, put it down. And yes, you had people that got up there and said, "Oh, yeah, this is a demon," or questioning why put it up in the first place. But it had overwhelmingly, it had um, positive effects because it really helped people that put it up there to realize that people's desires have not changed through time. And that is a beautiful prime example of it being done correctly. The Medusa statue holding Perseus' head is art done inappropriately, or it's done in a way where it doesn't elicit the kind of response that you want. First of all, you are insulting a religious minority. You wouldn't definitely do that with Jesus, um, because yeah, um, you wouldn't do that to Jesus. You wouldn't depict Jesus with his head chopped off. Though John the Baptist would be more appropriate because his head did get chopped off. Um, you wouldn't do that with a major religion. You wouldn't do that with Islam. So you take a myth and you look at it and say you literally believe that Poseidon actually raped Medusa. You actually believe that this happened. I never knew that story. I personally don't believe in policing art, but I do have to say that this was inappropriate. Correct. It was actually. Let me look. Let me look that up. Is entitled Venus statue in Getty Villa. Um, let's see here. Um, let's find it because it was an art thing that they did. Uh, all right, here it is. Is Dear Venus praying to an ancient goddess? I'll read it to you. Um, I'm actually going to do a link so you can read it. Okay. All right. So it says here. Okay. So there was a comic book writer who knew about Hellenic polytheism and still spread all amounts of hate about the gods and the people who worship them, and it's ungodly popular too. Yeah. Okay. So here it is. It was little tags, not postcards. All right. So it says here Venus, Greek Aphrodite, was a goddess close to the hearts of her people. From archaeological, artistic, and written sources, we know Venus was one of the most frequently depicted goddesses in domestic shrines. Her dominion was vast, including love, sexuality, fertility, sexual maturity, marriage, harmony, war, sea and seafaring, among many other aspects of Greek culture. As part of the Roman holidays this summer, visitors to the Getty Villa were invited to communicate with our touch statue replica of the Antonio Canvola Venus, um, 1820, through hanging prayer tags. Roman holidays were designed to introduce visitors to a Roman version of a holiday, generally in the context of religious festival. Venus allowed visitors to explore the ritual and personal aspect of daily life by answering one question: what would you pray for? We hope that we would get immense and intimate experiences while learning how ancient people negotiated with structured ritual to form a relationship with their gods. The response was overwhelming. We estimate around 2,000 prayers were written a week. In the ancient world, the relationship between people and their gods was based on a system of reciprocity. Supplicants would approach their god with proper ritual and offering to ask for assistance or thank them for granting the previous request. Based on the system, we provided a guide for visitors to write their prayers. So it says here on it's the iris. At this small shrine of the Roman Venus, Greek Aphrodite, visitors may honor the goddess and seek her help at important moments in their lives, as Greeks and Romans did. Venus' influence extended far beyond love and passion. It was ensuring victory, maintaining peace, and encouraging social and political harmony. In the natural realms, Venus promoted fertility and abundance on land and safe travel by sea. Venus grants respectful wishes. A Roman prayer is like a formal letter asking for help. Greet the goddess by name, describe her beauty and abilities, make a sincere request. If you like, promise her a gift. Do if she's granted your wish. State your name so she'll know who needs her. We invite you to post your prayer behind her statue. So it goes on and on about relationships. One of this is Venus, I'm sure there is no way could have captured your beauty. I ask for understanding and peace. The result of this will be a gift enough. You know, V. So, romance, of course, fertility and planning, which is interesting. State of the world, society, and politics. Dear Venus, make everything all right, please. Dear Venus, goddess of love and beauty, make this a better world for all, with equality and love for all things. Thank you. Wealth. Could I have 2,000 pizzas? That's funny. Okay. Surprises. There was some prayers that didn't fit with the spirit of the program. Some of these prayers consisted of sexually explicit wishes. Others were written using disrespectful language or contained direct attacks on Venus as irrelevant, conquered, false, and imaginary god. Must be a militant anti-theist. As in antiquity, Venus nudity can still shock people. She received many critiques to put some clothes on by children. Meow, 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 meow. I love turtles. Yeah. So it's and then some people left gifts, which was really cute. Yeah, so it says here that the project has showed that the fundamental desire has not changed in 2,000 years. So it's cute. According to that, meow, 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 that was adorable. Like I've been worshiping Zeus even when I was Wiccan, and I think the portion of the hate I get, thanks for the link as well. I love that they use the right format as well. Yes. The people that did the project did a lot of research into Roman ritual, and they based it on that, which was really great. I think it definitely became a, a place that people that were Hellenic or people that worshiped the Greek or Roman gods, they're like, oh, okay, great, I'm going to do this. You see a lot in the Temple of site over there in Europe where, like, I lead prayers to the gods when I lead prayers. I go on their website and leave a prayer, knowing that they'll burn appropriate offerings and stuff like that for my prayer. But yes, but that link to that project, that to me was the most appropriate thing. The Medusa statue, as you said, was very, very inappropriate. So my closing remarks, because it's 12:58 and I'm going to have to soon get ready to go to work. My in thoughts is this. The statue is not appropriate for any kind of movement. The statue takes the myths to literally, which is the byproduct of the Christianization of Europe. And if you look at the Medusa statue compared to the Project Venus display at the Getty Park, one was appropriate, the other one was not. The other one had a lot more value as a project and as a window in how people interact with things. This one just caused way too much controversy, especially among people that are already part of a minority religion and already gets flack from people for being part of a minority religion. It says here, I love that they use the right. Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know why I thought you just posted that. All right. So I'm gonna end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please leave a comment down below when this becomes available. So until next time, be blessed. Bye.